I think the biggest thing that my job is creating a place where someone can actually feel like they can be themselves. And I think people really enjoy that. And as a result of that, you almost become a bit of a therapist as well. And when we start climbing over those walls mentally, the physical side of things just flies, man. It just flies. I've never heard anyone on their deathbed and they go, oh, I really regret that slice of pizza I had 40 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So just enjoy life, man. Make the most of it. And if you do slip up and if something goes a bit off plan, that's fine. Just get back to the thing that you were doing that got you to where you are now.
If you're sat there having your beer and you finally treating yourself, but inside you're beating yourself up already and you're feeling bad, then you're in it for all the wrong reasons. So you need to go out there, enjoy that beer. You've earned it.
Don't get caught up with the unlicensed or white collar stuff because it doesn't go anywhere. I see a lot of smoke being blown. I'm gonna turn you pro, gonna do this. No, you get a bit of a stigma, and I would say anyone who wants to really learn the craft, stick to amateur. The stuff that you learn in amateur boxing is second to none.
Dani Jani.
My brother.
So how's it going, man?
Yeah, man, we're all good, bro. We're all good. We're here. We're here.
What you been up to?
Working. Trying to get this money. The cost of living is crazy. Nah, man, just trying to make sure the bills are paid and just trying to build on something, man. But yeah, just enjoying life. What about you?
Mate, yeah, been busy. Obviously, podcast starting today. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. Do you know what? We've been bouncing ideas for a while. We've been talking about we want to do this.
Years,
since we were in Australia, and we're doing the video calls and this, that, and the other. We made it. We're here.
Yeah, man, mate, absolute pleasure.
Good to have you, man. Good to have me.
You're one of those people, mate. Your energy, everyone's already seeing it now. Like, your energy is infectious. Like, mate, you are such a good soul. You're a good egg in the boxing world, in personal training. The stuff that you've done with me. So, for example, I've boxed for 10 years, on and off. The stuff that you've done with me in 2 sessions, giving my body an MOT, I leave in a lot of pain, but you actually targeting the muscles, the areas that are neglected in stretching and mobility.
Yeah, man.
Them 2 sessions are a complete game changer. Complete game changer. The stuff that you do, I couldn't recommend to anyone.
Thank you, brother.
Mate, no, that is priceless. What the stuff that you can do in a session. You don't just hold pads, do PT, and you've got such a good mindset to know a person and to be able to see, oh, you're a bit tight, you're a bit hunched, you can just straight away clock it and work on it. And I've seen the people that you've improved over the years. I'm sure you got some success stories you're going to talk about.
100%, man, 100%. It's all about helping people. And I think, I've experienced injuries, I experienced the problems that come when you do it for recovery versus to do it to prevent. Do you know what I mean? Injuries put you out of training, they mess up with your mindset and just throw you completely off course. So I've experienced it, so I make sure that everything that I do in my recovery process, I apply to anyone that I know has got something to make sure that we just avoid that injury window. And then, we just build. We just build, man. Trial and error, like in anything.
It's very hard to explain verbally about what you did with me, with the stretching and things. But could you try and explain to some people how they can add into their training, the recovery side? Because that is how you get better as an athlete.
100%. I think it's always important to make sure that, with anything that you're doing, you're warming up. Do you know what I mean? Making sure that if you're weight training, you do the right warm-ups, practicing those movement patterns. If it's something that involves running, you're making sure you're doing the dynamic stretches to get the blood and oxygen flowing to the muscles. Everything that you do with regards to whatever training, whatever workouts, whatever you're doing, you just need to make sure that the body is primed and ready to make sure that you perform it and make sure that you kind of minimize injuries and you just maximize performance on what you're going to try and do.
How many people do you see walk in the gym and go straight to the bench and just straight in?
Do you know what it is for me? It's the young. See, when you're young, you're made out of rubber and special stuff. So you just bounce back. Who knows? 21-year-olds, man, you ain't getting injured for nothing. You fall on the floor, you get back up, you just keep it moving. But when you start getting past that 25, start creeping towards that 30 plus and everything else, bro, the body starts creaking and croaking. So I see it in the older population, but I think the younger people, some of them take it into consideration, but I think most of them are just like Superman mode still, but they'll live and learn. They'll see.
Well, it's like you said to me, so what are you doing for recovery? I said all these things. You said, you've not even said stretch. You've not even mentioned to me stretch. And I'm like, yeah, I do stretch. But then even the importance of that, I used to rush it. I could do, if you do football training or whatever at the end of a boxing session, it's usually about 10 seconds per stretch they do. And that's it. And I'll be honest, 10 seconds is nothing. I need at least a minute on every single body part. Like when I'm done in the gym, it's a good 15 minutes cool down, rolling out the roller is so important. And you showed me some extra bits of rolling as well. Thank you. But that's so important. And I'd rather talk about that more than how can someone get fit and strong, because everyone that's listening already probably trains.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's, what am I trying to say? I think it's, like I said before, in a lot of cases, you tend to find a lot of people do it to recover. They don't do it to prevent. And then they get the injury. And then they'll get their rehab from their physio or whatever. And then they'll do it for a little bit. I'm also guilty of this. And then we'll do it for a little bit. Start seeing some results. It start working again. And then we just kind of fall off. And then we get an injury. We start doing it to recover again. And the cycle just continues. So I think it's when people really start understanding the importance of, hang on, I've got to make sure that I'm going to be able to exercise, train for a long period of time and minimize those injuries. Once people get that drummed in, everything else falls into place. But it's often after the injury that people are like, oh yeah, maybe I should do something. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're all guilty of it.
To be fair, even though I've spoken to you for years, I don't know much about your background, mate. Tell us a bit more about you.
So, do you know what? Yeah, I finished school. And like most people, I didn't really know what to do, but I knew I didn't want to go uni. I was floating around online.
Why was that?
I'll be honest with you, my mindset and how I was a young Dani Jani, it was a little bit reckless, and I felt like I would have gone to uni for all the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? So I didn't go. I focused my time and energy in trying to find something that I'd get into work. And I'd done a PT qualification with the training room. It's about 12 weeks, and I finished. And I thought I was going to just jump into personal training, I'll start making some money and just build from there. And that wasn't the case. I jumped into one gym. They were just like, rent, this, loophole, jump through that. And
so what was that like at 18? So you've got the qualification. What process, so I'm guessing you had so many barriers to be able to just go and make money and train people. It wasn't that straightforward.
It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I think also the fitness industry at the time was not what it is now. What
was it like back then?
Still saturated, weirdly enough. It was still saturated back then, but it was, I don't know, because it's difficult to explain because I only went to one gym and I experienced that. I think it's called LA Fitness at the time. I think it's a different name now, but...
I'm joking. I've never been.
But they, just the system and the process and how they set it up just completely put me off. And backed away, and I jumped into sales. You know me, I could sell water to the ocean. Do you know what I mean? I can talk all day long.
I know you just took 20 quid off me outside.
My name is Dennis McCann, professional boxer for Frank Moore and MTK Global. This is Fortress Boxing. A lot more protection. It's a no-brainer. Around your thumbs, around your knuckles, around my wrist. That's exactly where I have the problems at. They're very compact, so I feel like I'm punching hard with them on as well. And I feel like when you got to spar on 14, 16 ounce gloves, the smaller wraps can't really, they're too small for the gloves, that makes sense. So these are a bit bigger and they're getting the gloves a bit more, they're making them more compact. 1, 2, go.
I think it was just that I enjoyed the fact that I could talk and communicate to anyone, and the skills.
Money as well, I'm guessing.
Money was the biggest motivator because, it's always been me, my mum and my sister. So at any given chance, when the opportunity arose for me to step up, I jumped on it because that's all I've ever seen from my mum. So I was like, okay, cool, let me play my part. So I jumped into sales, jumped into recruitment, and it was good, but there was something there was no satisfaction, I could sell the candidate to the client, sell the client to the candidate, and that was wonderful when you got your commission and pay, but there was just something missing. There wasn't any job satisfaction, do you know what I mean? And then I started working with one of my friends, quote unquote, thought we were building something really good, thought we were going to really change the game in what we were working in. It was line rental and broadband. And it wasn't the case. Things didn't go as we planned. A little bit of snaky behaviour, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, opened my eyes to what's going on. I think Mike Tyson said it best. He was like, don't think that, not everyone that helps you is your friend. Do you know what I mean? And I got to learn that quite well there. And then I bounced. I literally was going to my gym at the time. I left. I was talking to the owner there. I told him I was stressing with my current job situation. Started doing some pads with his boy, and just through a fleeting conversation, he was just like, yeah, no, we're looking for PT. I was like, oh, I'm actually qualified. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, yeah, I am. Showed him my qualification. He was like, what are you doing? You're telling me you're not happy at your place? Come over here. And then, I think it was maybe 2017, I want to say, December.
Was this cool?
This is cool, yeah, this is cool. And I left. So I bounced from my current workplace, jumped into call, talked to the owner, Jay, and I just said, look, listen, this is what's going on. He said, yeah, just go in the gym, man, do your thing. And fast forward 6 years later, man, I'm in probably the best position I've been in work-wise, financially, career-wise. Everything's kind of fallen into place so well. And I'm in a place where I'm still selling, but I don't feel like I'm selling. I don't have an end goal besides I just want to help you get better. You know, I don't care about the commission. Of course, I've got bills to pay, but at the end of the day, if I help you get better, if I make you feel good, if I help you build your confidence and make you see what your body's capable of and help you not only physically, but mentally, there's no sales job in the world that's going to bring you that kind of satisfaction, you know? And I get to really have a front row seat to watching someone grow in so many aspects, you know? Yeah. So I think that's what really makes the job so worthwhile. Got into a bit of a tangent there. Hope you got your answer.
Yeah, amazing, yeah. What would you say is the role of a personal trainer? I know obviously you cover all aspects, but you must have so many different goals and so many different reasons for every single client. You must cover everything.
Do you know what? I think the biggest thing that my job is creating a place where someone can actually feel like they can be themselves. Like, I work with people from all different backgrounds, different age groups, and the one thing they all kind of say back to me is they love training me because I make them feel like themselves. You're not going to be a dad, you're not going to be a boss, you're not going to be a mum, you're not going to be a daughter, or you're just going to be you. And I think people really enjoy that they can do that. And as a result of that, you know, you almost become a bit of a therapist as well. Like, sometimes I'll be training someone and they'll be talking and they'll start telling me some stuff that's going on in their world, and I'm just like, it's so good that you feel comfortable to sit here and talk about that, because that's where I can help you. And when we start climbing over those walls mentally, the physical side of things just flies, man. It just flies. It just flies.
And your boxing background.
Yeah, man.
I've seen some good clips of you.
Yeah, man.
When did you start boxing?
So I was boxing when I was 15 years old. Started boxing when I was 15. I was at Westbury and St. Mary's in Chatham. And then I kind of just fell off for a little bit, to be honest with you. I think it was, do you know what it was? It was more the working world took over. Again, my mum, my sister, they kind of became a priority. I needed to make sure that I was making some money, so I kind of veered off, and that's how I got into the personal training. And then I kind of wanted to get back into it and use the boxing to kind of help build my brand. So I'd done a few white collar stuff just to try and build the brand, and it kind of got me into here. That also just helped to push, because my approach from what I learned in the amateurs wasn't just go in and bam, bam, bam. You start learning a style, you start learning a skill set. That's so important. I think any young person, any person actually needs to be punched in the face in a controlled environment. You need to be hit and experience and know that, hang on, I'm not made out of glass. And when someone tells you, right, cool, you got hit, put your hands up, now keep it moving, it teaches you so many things. You can keep going, you can push ball, and you can do better. So I think, yeah, man. if that answers your question.
Yeah, you learned so much then, obviously.
You learn so much, man, about yourself and just really what to do when the going gets tough, and that no one's going to come and save you. You've got to do the work. And I think if you really take those skills, you can apply them to anything in life. You know, it's definitely helped me. I've gone through some hardships, I've had some stuff challenging me, but I remember when someone's hit me in the liver and I've dropped to the floor, and coach is like, you better get back up. Nobody, I ain't coming in there. And you still got a minute to go in that round. You got to get back up, right? Eventually you got to breathe, get yourself back up, and you got to do some stuff. And it's just, I think that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's helped, well, for me, much more disciplined, and I feel like anyone that I've ever worked with on an actual job site or wherever it may be, any job I've ever had, those that exercise or even box or train, they work so much better in any environment because of they've had the stresses of boxing and everything, and that you're more disciplined, you're more switched on, you're confident in yourself, but you're also humble. You know, when you are being punched in the face and you're being beat up 2-3 times a week by people that are better than you, you're not going to go start a fight on the streets.
Nope.
But when you know you can handle yourself and you're a trained fighter, you also know that if anything ever happened, you're going to be comfortable, and it grows you as a person. You know, 100%. I was lucky. I started boxing 15, 16, same time as you, and it changed me forever. And I had two routes. I could have gone down the party route and have a fun time, and then at this age now, I'll probably have no hair left, and I'll just be, I'll be doing 3-day benders and stuff. Or I could have gone down the route of training and, thinking about taking the right decisions in life. And I feel like any type of exercise, like you're saying in the gym and stuff, that helps you handle with the daily stresses. How bad is, like right now, you've got the news on all the time, you've got a war on, you've got the cost of living, you've got stresses at home, you've got clients that probably got kids running around that sometimes they can't handle it with everything else, financial problems. when you go and train, that all goes away.
All goes away. It's you and the goal. And I think it's very freeing as well. I find for myself, when I train, if I'm happy, I go train. If I'm sad, I go train. If I'm stressed, I go train. I've never had a bad workout. The only time I feel bad with regards to my training is that time I go, I'm not going to train today. You know, and when I miss out on that training, man, that just compounds into just a whole host of bad eating, this, and you can just tumble into this path that's just crap. No one likes that. But if you push yourself, and half the time it's just turning up. Walk through the gym doors and all of a sudden, oh, okay, cool, I'm here now. Do the first rep. Guarantee you when you start moving, you're like, okay, I'm here now, okay, oh, okay, cool, right, let's do this. And then before you know it, 45 minutes have gone by, hours gone by, and you're starting to feel really good because you've invested in yourself. No one can ever take that away.
You've hit the nail on the head. My missus is exactly that. She had a tough day at work yesterday, and I was like, right, we're going to go to the gym. As soon as work ended at 5, I'm like, we'll go to the gym. Oh, no, don't want to go. We finally get there. She comes to me like an hour later, buzzing. She's like, I feel great. We had a great evening after that. If we didn't go to the gym and we just sat at home and put the telly on, you'd be miserable. You would never have actually had anything done in your day besides work for someone else. And unless obviously you work for yourself, but
I get what you mean.
You've hit the nail on the head.
100%.
And having that vice and that outlet, it's a complete game changer. I don't know how people can't exercise. Now, like this morning, we had so much stress with, as you know, going on, starting season 4 of the podcast. We've had a lot of barriers on our way this morning. And first thing I said to Radu after like 2 hours of nightmares, I was just like, mate, all I want to do right now is just go and train. Yep. I just need to go get all this nervous and energy out. Right. And it's the best feeling. It's the best medicine.
I think the problem that we have now, man, we're in an era where it is all about that immediate gratification, that immediate dopamine hit. I want to feel good, but I want to feel good now. You know what I mean? Why go to the gym where I can have a pint? The pint's going to make me feel good now. Do you know what I mean? People don't understand how I feel. If I have a pint, like if you're like, oh, I really fancy a pint, that does not lead to anything feeling better, at least to a hangover, at least to 2-3 days you're feeling like crap. Weekend's gone, you're back on Monday, you're back to work. Do you know what I mean? And I just think training is so important, man, for so many things. And for me, take all the physical benefits that come from training, my mental state is just absolutely priceless how I feel. You know, when I got good routine, when I'm seeing results, I'm being consistent, I'm showing up for myself. It doesn't mean that life is going to get easy in everything else outside, but you just handle it better, you know? I wake up, I go for a little run. Nothing crazy, I just go around the block. But it gets me woke, come in, have a cold shower, and I'm just ready to go. If I don't do that, that alarm becomes challenging. All of a sudden, I'm snoozing. It just tumbles into just, do you get what I mean?
100%.
And I just think, get moving. Get out, go for a walk. Just do something that is investing in you, you know? Because, again, it's your body. That's the only thing you ever really, truly own that no one can take away, you know?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You get so lost with everyday life. Like, you get roped into it and you start reacting to everything, and months go by and you don't really see any progress. But when you can sit back at the end of the day and analyse or journal or think about what you did good and actually know that you're being health conscious, like, oh, I ate well today, having that feeling, it's good. And like you said with the impulsive feel good now, having a beer, there's do you know the SAS Who Dares Wins guy?
Yes.
What's his name? Not Ant Middleton, the newer one.
Oh, I was going to go Ant. I was going to say Ant.
So there's another, I can't remember, he's on the new shows, but well, my uncle recommended his book because I was going through a bit of a rough patch, and he said, oh, you'll love this, you know, he's ex, obviously, SAS, all this stuff.
They're built different.
They are
different,
and
man.
he said how one of the things were he did this crazy marathon row thing out in the ocean. He hated rowing, he couldn't even row anyway, and it was just like it was an insane task, and they did it. And he said the whole time they were doing it, it was terrible, it was dreadful. And then when it was done, he's now the gratification that he got and just the feelings he has about completing it, he feels so good, and the self-worth that he's got from doing it. Like, there's like a type 2 happiness, and type 1's like the instant stuff. The type 2 stuff where you've got to invest long-term, you've got to put in the graft and you can look back, that's where the real happiness is.
100%. And you look back and you're like, well, I did that. And most important, I did it for me. You know, that's the biggest thing. I think, you know, anyone can drink for themselves, but get out and move, get out and do something, push yourself, challenge yourself. And the best thing, I think, again, you know, going back to what I do with regards to personal training, it's watching someone who comes in, they can't do a press up, they can't squat, people have become so frail, you know what I mean? And life makes you like that. You go to work, you've got kids, you've got this, you've got that. It's so easy to get caught up with just the world. You really don't take time for yourself. And before you know it, it's like 30, 40 years down the road and you're like, your health is down the drain. Some people have the money, but now they're spending all that money just trying to look after their health. You know what I mean? And when you see that person come in, they've got no control. They can't move their body, A, B, C, D, like I just said a few moments before. And then you fast forward 4 weeks down the road and they can even just do one press up, yeah? They can squat the bar, something so small to some people. When you see someone who's gone from not being able to do that and they can do that, it's crazy. One of my clients just is able to do 5 press-ups now. She can do 5 press-ups now, and that's a massive thing for her. And it's a massive thing for both of us, because we're like, you rewind a couple of weeks ago, you couldn't even do 1. Now look at you. And she's squatting double her body weight. She's moving this, she's moving that, and it's just like, okay, this is what the body's capable of. And then you start looking at the nutrition side of things, what you eat and how you fuel in your body, because when it's easy to wake up, hit that alarm, drink the coffee, grab a quick something on the go, before you know it, the day's done and all you've eaten is crap. But if you actually plan out your day and make sure that you are getting, my biggest thing with all my clients is get your protein in. Yeah, get your protein in. Fill yourself up with protein and just watch how your body adapts and just watch how your body changes. But most importantly, you're not hungry, you know what I mean? It's more satiating, the body requires more calories to break it down. There's so many things to go into with regards to that macronutrient, but the main thing is you get your protein in, you're gonna be fuller for longer, you're gonna just be able to do your things better, do you know what I mean? And food, it's important, man, it's important. Do not neglect it, make sure you're eating it, and try and stay away from the processed nonsense, because as much as you think it's filling you up now, man, I've had a McDonald's burger, which is like 3,000 calories, half hour later, I'm still hungry. You know, but when I really plan out my meals, I'm fuller for longer, and I'm just able to just be myself and navigate the day way better, way better. What about you? What about your nutrition, man? How's your nutrition?
I've always been hot on it. So obviously I had a Jack Coke for a little while. I actually had a nutritionist come on.
I remember, yeah.
This was only a few months ago, but after losing another family member, obviously went down the pan, put on a bit of weight. I went up to just over 75 kilos, and he just put me on a simple plan: double training day, single training day, rest day. And for my weight at that time, it was double training day. I had 2,400 calories. I was hitting just over 200 grams of protein, like 220. My single training day was 2,200 calories and just under 200 grams protein. Single training day is about 2,000 calories. So it was about 200 plus determined. Okay. And that was just like a rough basis. At first I was weighing out all the food, but where I'm not trying to make championship weight, and it was a little bit more, you know, just do it to be consistent and be accountable for myself again. I can judge by eye roughly, that's a portion, that's good. So I started doing that. I'm down to 71 already in like 6 weeks or whatever. So I'm on the right path. But it's just making the right choices. My nutrition, healthy, balanced diet, make sure that I am covering all bases. I don't want it to be samey. I don't want chicken and rice every day.
Of course.
But like treating yourself every now and then and having the right treats. You can have decent low calorie treats that are still going to be good for you. Like Jack put in the training plan, in the nutrition plan, ice cream on your rest day. One of the protein ice creams, it's like 350 or Halo top or whatever, you know. So 300 calories.
Halo, got a thing going on. We got a thing going on.
If Halo are looking for sponsors, then but yeah, unreal. You know, you have a tub of Halo ice cream or whatever. It's a great treat. It tastes good. It's, you know, it satisfies you with a sweet tooth, and you get a bit of protein in there. And just if you have a cheat day, have a cheat day. Don't beat yourself up.
That's the biggest thing.
Be consistent. And so many people will starve themselves. You know, you'll go out and have a great dinner, and the next day you're like, oh, I better not have this. But now you're depriving yourself from functioning as the best you can.
Don't demonize food, man. Don't demonize anything. Just eat. You know what I mean? And make sure you're just being balanced. Like you said, just make sure you're balanced. Make sure you're balanced. Because you're never gonna... I've never heard anyone on their deathbed and they go, oh, I really regret that slice of pizza I had back in 40 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So just enjoy life, man. Make the most of it. And if you do slip up and if something goes a bit off plan, that's fine. Just get back to the thing that you were doing that got you to where you are now.
Yep.
It is really that simple. But I find, again, I'm also guilty of this. You can have maybe 2 days where you've eaten bad. And you're like, oh, well, it's done now. So I'm eating bad anyway. And then all of a sudden, a week's gone down. Nah, man, just get back to the program. Yeah.
The more experience you get, the quicker you get back on board.
100%.
So when I was at uni, I would go from training hard for a fight for like 4, 5, 6 months. I'd have the fight, and then I'd go out, have a few drinks, party, have fun. Before you know it, 3 weeks has gone by, and I've just been going on runs, which I think at the time's good training, but unfortunately, if you're a boxer, going on a run doesn't do much at all. But like you just learn to get back on the wagon quicker. So I've learned from my costly mistakes. I've spent months getting fit to then throw it all down the pan. And, you know, your cardio fitness, that goes within a week. So if you want to be smart and you want to treat yourself, like I've got a stag do end of July, can't wait. I'm going to treat myself for 3 days, get back, and I'm going to punish myself with hard training because I love it. And I know I'll be back on board within a few weeks. So
there you go.
Knowing mentally that I can have that balance and I can let loose. You know, if you're sat there having your beer and you're finally treating yourself, but inside you're beating yourself up already and you're feeling bad, then you're in it for all the wrong reasons. You need to go out there, enjoy that beer. You've earned it. You know, if you want to go and have a takeaway at some point, do it. Like, enjoy it. You know, if you're not enjoying it, then that's such a big
someone
thing.
over there, my bad, man. It's a reflection. I'm thinking, wait, who's that?
Oh, he's good looking. Nice.
But no, I hear you, man, and I completely agree. I completely agree, man. It is just about creating that balance, and you enjoy life, man. You only get one of these. There's no replay. There's no retakes. You only get one go around the block. So enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? I completely agree with you on that.
So going from amateur to the white collar scene, did you have any amateur fights?
No, I didn't have any amateur fights. No, I didn't.
How long did you box amateur for?
So I worked at Westry, I think 15 to about 18.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 to about 18.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's about 3 years.
Who was your main sparring partners back then and guys you trained with?
So like I've done a little bit of stuff with Sean like back in the day, but he was a kid back in the, because I was a few years older than him.
Oh yeah.
So I've done some stuff with them, like moved around with a few boys, just a few of the local boys, like Ollie Lawrence, done some stuff with them. And just, and I think that's why we all kind of know each other still, you know, we still see each other, say hello to each other, but some of those boys have blown up and gone completely, you know, off the map with what they're doing. Like Midge,
Sean's
for example,
knockouts,
man. Sean, Midge, Dennis, like they're really putting the town on the map, and it's really, really good to see because talented boys. And I mean, going over from amateur to white collar, I mean, personally, if I'm going to give any advice to anyone who is in that situation, don't do it. My reasons for doing that was because I knew I could use it to help build my brand. I was a local boy, I knew a lot of people in the local town, and I was trying to build something to do with my personal training, and that synced up together. But don't get caught up with the unlicensed or white collar stuff because it doesn't go anywhere. I see a lot of smoke being blown. You know, I'm gonna turn you pro, gonna do this. No, you're not. It's a lot of it just doesn't turn to anything, and it's dreams being sold. And I experienced some of that. Some of my coaches, you know, I went in.
Do you think you get sort of stuck in a trap then? Like,
big time.
Once you're in white collar,
oh my God,
it's hard to get out of it then. Would you say, from your experience?
I don't think it's so much. You get a stigma. You get a bit of a stigma, and I think that's what personally my advice is. I would say anyone who wants to really learn the craft and really, really learn the skills, stick to amateur. The stuff that you learn in amateur boxing is second to none. And how it builds you and how it really sharpens your skills, you can apply that to anything. And because of that, I was able to apply that in my boxing matches, and I was able to use that with my clients that I work with now. You know, we're not just punching stuff like, 3-4. No, I'm really teaching you, working the range, seeing what a jab does, seeing the benefits and why it's important to jab, what the backhand can do, and just getting you comfortable moving, rolling, slipping, and actually doing it not just for woo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really getting the person to understand how their body moves. It changes the whole pad work thing, you know? So when you watch, I'm trying to blow smoke up my own ass, but when I see what I'm doing versus what another PT, not a boxing coach, but another PT's doing with their clients, I'm like, no wonder why your client's looking at what I'm doing with my client, because I'm not just letting them hit stuff. I'm really making them move and actually giving them a skill set. One of my clients, she went out, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and she went out with one of her friends, and I got a phone call at like 3-4 a.m. and she was like, oh my God, Danny, oh my God. I'm like, what's happened? She's like, I hit someone. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean you hit someone? She was like, they tried to grab my friend. I turned around, I hit him, and they fell to the floor. And I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, what's happened now? She's like, oh my God, it was so cool. She was like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just turned around, I just did what you told me, and all of a sudden the situation calmed down. Now that for me really gave me confidence in what I was doing, because that's all I want. I never want anyone to go out and fight people, because everything I learned made me not be a dick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel sorry for
you don't see trained fighters going out getting ever,
No, you don't.
unless it's provoked.
Exactly,
like you just said there.
You know, and it's you really get taught just because you know how to do that. You don't. It's almost like because you know how to do it, you're like, I don't need to get in a street fight. You know, I don't need to be fighting people. There's no ego in it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I mean, taking a regular person, teaching them how to punch and hearing something like that, it's wonderful because there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on out there now. And I'm really happy that anyone that works with me, don't go around just start fighting people, but if anything ever happens and you're in danger, you can actually defend yourself. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man.
100%. Yeah, it's, like if I never took up boxing, I would have the ego of, I could handle myself, but you would never really know until you're put on the spot. And you see guys that are out fighting, that are windmilling, that don't know what they're doing.
Well, man, it's not even that anymore. You know?
Well,
people are scared. People are scared for an arse whooping now, man. People are scared of an arse whooping. That's why these boys are walking around with these blades, man. Some of them walk around. I don't know how you walk around with a sword in your leg. I don't know how people are doing that, but some of the stuff that I'm seeing these youngsters being pulled up with, it's insane. And the ages as well, man. I remember when I was younger, man. It's
becoming a culture,
man, 100%. I got my ass kicked when I was young. I also handed out a couple of ass whoopings too. But every single one of the people I had any kind of altercation or problem with, I've seen, and we were all grown up. Some of them have kids and stuff. And it's weird to look and think, if we had the mentality that these youngsters have now, a lot of that would be different. A lot of that wouldn't be happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll cut for a second. Yeah, how you doing, bro? You good?
Big man. Yay. Exactly.
Good, yeah? Coming in, mate. It's been a long time coming, isn't it?
Jeez, hey, I see you, bro. You're killing it right now. Bro, you're trying to get like me, bro. I'm trying to get like you. Yeah, bro. You're looking well.
Thank you, man. Likewise,
Bro, love it, man. Just keep that up.
If someone gets punched, obviously you get punished so badly, but sometimes a straightener's needed. And like, there's people that I've met, they'd be like, you know what, I got hit in the face when I was acting up, and I learned I shouldn't be doing that.
But no one got stabbed.
No one got stabbed. No one got hurt. Man. You know, your pride got hurt for a minute. That's it. But now it's a shame how things are going, and it seems like it's getting worse. I don't know about you. I don't know if it's maybe the media making it worse, but in Maidstone a few years ago, I come back after ages, come back home fine. It's all family. We all went out, had a good night. Comes to like, I don't know, one in the morning or whatever, we're about to like go to Beer Killer, I think, you know, it isn't there, just dancing on the tables and that. So
I never been to Beer Killer,
never
man.
been?
So but I ain't dancing on a table.
Cheesy, yeah. So it's a bit of a danger, really. Imagine loads of drunk people dancing on tables. You know, someone's gonna get hurt.
Harsh, man.
But yeah, we'd left the Brenchley and it was all cornered off. There's blood everywhere. Some poor uni student was stabbed by someone from the entourage of Mostat.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
It was pretty much dead within hours because it was outrageous, and it's just like to have that on your doorstep when we never had this when I was a kid. You know, Mason's always been a little bit rough here and there, but to have that, it's such a shame. Why? I don't understand. Is it the culture of? I don't know, mate. I'm getting old now. I'm 26.
I said, man, I think it's really come down to that. People are scared to catch an arse whooping, man. I see that there's a film called Friday, and in the scene, yeah, he's this guy Ice Cube. He's called I can't remember his name in the film now, but anyway, Ice Cube is taking his friend Chris Rock back home, and they've got some problem with some of the local thugs and that. Goes into his room and gets his gun, and he's gonna walk out, and his dad catches him with a gun. He's like, boy, what you doing over there? And he's like, I gotta walk Smokey home, and he's like, with that, and he gets the gun, and he's like, put that away. He's like, put your dukes up. He's like, he puts it up. He's like, you think you're a man now? He's like, back in my day, this is all we had. You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day. And I was like, that's so powerful, man. A lot of people need to hear that. Like, but I think there's like, ego is such a thing now. I'm the big man. I'm this. And it's like, catch it. Boom, you kill someone. Most of the people that you speak to, I saw this documentary as well. Some people were in prison and it was 4 stabbings. And they speak to them and say, do you regret it? And they say, yeah. Why did you do it? It was in the moment. I panicked. If I don't carry it, someone else is carrying it. So it's just this horrible culture. But yeah, man, ain't nothing wrong with catching an ass whooping. Yeah? Ain't nothing wrong with giving a little ass whooping. But end of the day, yeah, it's nice to live and fight another day. Yeah? Put the knives down, man. You don't need that nonsense. Anyway.
So your white collar fights, how many did you have?
6.
You had
4
6?
knockouts.
Nice.
All wins.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
All wins, yeah?
All wins, bro.
Happy days.
All wins. And I think, again, I'm not speaking, listen, I think everyone should experience it. It's important. There's some, you know, there's all like the ultra white collar boxing stuff, charity stuff that's going on, all for a good cause. But you tend to find, I felt like my edge was my fitness. Like when you're young, boxing, bro, like being boxing fit was just different, you know? You can run, you can move your body, like everything, all the burpees, all the this, that, and the other. It's great, and it just makes you so fit. And I applied that to my training. So my training camp, I'll go to my classes and do what everyone else is doing, but in my spare time, guess what I'm doing? I am running. I am doing this, I am doing that, because I know it's going to benefit me. So when we done the 3-2s, I'm able to just keep going and going and going, and it resulted in me winning. So yeah.
Incredible. Well, I might be able to post some of the knockouts as well on the screen as well. I'll put like a little
Watch me dish out some ass whoopings.
And let's say you've got a novice, fresh person that's coming to you and they want to start boxing or start training. What advice would you say?
First thing I say to them is find a good club. Find a good club, you know what I mean? Second thing is, if we're working together, if they're like, look, they want to work, because I've got a couple of juniors that I work with, they're at boxing clubs, but they also come to me because they just want some one-to-one tuition. And we break things down real slow, yeah, because like you know, the punch is the finished product. What's your hips doing? How's your shoulder? What's your foot doing? All of those little things play a part to making sure that the punch actually does the effective thing. So really getting people to understand that it's a longer process than what they think, but it's faster than what they think. Because once they get it and they have that aha moment, one of my boys that I'm training at the moment, he came to me, we've only had we're 2 sessions in. He came to me, he's a very small boy, he's about 11 years old, and when he goes to the boxing gym he's at, the boys are bigger. And he finds that he's finding it difficult getting into certain positions because they're just bigger. And we just covered 2 basic drills. We just covered, when you jab, instead of just jabbing and not doing anything with your feet, just step into range, step back out of range. All of a sudden, you can change everything that's going on with regards to that particular situation. And, he came flying to me in our second class that we had, and he was like, it worked. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I'd done exactly what you told me. I jabbed the kid, he couldn't hit me. I jabbed him again, he couldn't hit me. And I was like, sick. I was like, what happened? He's like, I've done it again. I was like, what else? He's like, I kept doing it. And I was like, my guy. And then we work on the next thing. And it's about, the process from when a baby goes from crawling to walking, then to running, is such a long process. But when they have that aha moment, it's like, cool, you get it now, next thing. Cool, you get it now, next thing. So that's how I work. So we'd always start back with the basics, see what your body can actually do now, see what your strengths are, see what your weaknesses are. We double down on the strengths, we look at the weaknesses, we adjust them. And then the next stage, we start looking at, okay, this is all working now, perfect, let's double down even more. What's not working, we take that away. And we just keep working and working and working until we have a style that works for you, movement, and you feel comfortable. And more than anything else, you're not made out of glass. I think that's one of the biggest things I like to teach people. You're not made out of glass, because a lot of people are scared of that. And it applies to so many things. Fear stops people from doing so many things. And I think when you're gonna get punched, it's the anticipation. You ever notice that? Like when I was younger, I was scared of getting punched. But when I got hit, I was like, okay, cool. And then coach would be like punching back. I'd be like, all right, cool. And then all of a sudden you start learning, okay, let me apply this to everything else. So, I'm nearly 30 now. And I've had some point, bro, I've called you a couple of times, we've spoken. I've had situations where my mental's been absolutely fried, but because what I learned when I was younger, bro, you roll with the punches, get back up, let's keep going. Boom, I watched my mum do it. So I'm apply the same thing to me. I get hit with something in life, I get back up, I keep going. I get hit with something else, I get up, I keep going. And I use every single thing that knocked me down as a lesson to make sure that if I see something like that coming up again, I'm like, oh, hey, I move. But that doesn't mean that something else ain't gonna turn up and go boom. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that, that's what I've learned and like to apply to other things in life.
Well, I'm cut for a sec. Perfect. Yes, sir, bro.
It's not even about me, big man. They only care about you. About me. It's about you, bro.
Mate, we've got so many fights coming up.
Bro,
so many.
Listen. I think boxing's finally waking up again. We're trying to put some blood into it, man, because these last few years have been hard. Nothing but Twitter wars with nothing manifesting. Just talk here, I can beat you. We wait a few years later and then they're all past their prime, then we might get the fights. It's good to see some nice young blood risking it, and most importantly, actually the best fighting the best, and I think it's been so needed in the sport, man. It's been so needed in the sport. And yeah it's exciting times, man. Exciting times.
And we were saying earlier, the hearsay in the heavyweight division is too much. Like, all of the news coming out is just talks. There's no definites. But you've got, obviously, Crawford Spence, July 29th. Is it July 29th, right?
July 29th, yeah, man.
That, for me, people are going to be bored, actually. I'm going to be posting Crawford and Spence for the next month straight.
I think rightly so.
in my mind, they're two of the best fighters in the business. They're both top pound for pound, easily top 10, both of them.
Hands down. And the skill set.
Oh, man.
Who's your money on?
It's a 50-50. I'm just excited as a boxing fan. I'm leaning towards Bud. Leaning towards him. I don't know. I think he could probably outwork Spence. That's my feeling. But Spence is the bigger man. But no one knows. That's the beauty of it. No one can say to me that they know what's going to happen.
100%.
No, and that's what makes it so exciting. It's not like you've got Tyson Fury against bloody that Manuel Charr that keeps calling him out from Germany or whatever. You know, no one cares about that. You know, or Derek Chisora for the 16th time. You know?
My God.
No one cares. But you've got here two guys putting it all on the line, and the rematch clause. This could be one of the best trilogies that we've had since Muhammad Ali.
I think it will be. For our generation, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. The clash of styles, you know, they say styles make fights, and this is going to be probably one of the best back and forths we're going to see. And I think it's going to be one of them ones you cannot take your eye off the screen. You cannot take your eye off the screen.
They're going to meet in the middle, and I think they're just going to go toe to toe. Obviously, there's going to be, you know, in and out of range, all that, but it's going to be a calculated chess match with so much output. It's not going to be, do you know, some fights you've got like 2 or 3 rounds of just jabbing, feeling them out. I feel like these two guys know each other so well that they've been watching each other for years.
The build up to.
Yeah, all 4 to get in there. And obviously, they both know how to win rounds. That's what makes them so good. Their fight IQ. They know how to win a round. And for that reason, the competitiveness, they're going to bring the best out of each other straight away.
100%.
And again, as a boxing fan, I don't care who wins. I just want it to be a good fight. And I hope whoever deserves to win on the night gets his hands raised. 100%. I don't want no corruption, no none of that. I want the right man to win on the night.
Big time. Completely agree with you as well, man. I think that's the other thing as well that kind of ruins the sport. We ain't gonna get into it too much, but yeah, that we've heard some dodgy calls, some dodgy judges, and some of them numbers
and some dodgy
refs.
Of
those scorecards and them dodgy refs. We ain't gonna talk about them cash being handed under the table, but we see you. But
mate, that Rolly stoppage.
I don't know. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was messed up. And did you hear about? I'm not going to name the referee. Did you hear about? There was that one fight that he let the fighters go on so much that obviously there was really bad repercussions. The injuries were so bad.
I saw it being mentioned. Someone kind of mentioned it, but I was reading the comments and stuff, and someone mentioned it about that, and I was like, it's very interesting how you can be at 2 complete opposite ends. You know, oh my God, you're letting that fight go. How can you let that go? How did you stop the fight so early? And
without a punch being landed, you stopped the fight. That's like, there was another stoppage I posted, I can't remember the fighter now, but the guy is just in the corner, dodging everything, but the other guy's literally just throwing at nothing, and the ref stops it. It's exactly the same thing. And it's just one of those things. I know the refs, they have a lot on their hands, and it's all in the moment. I understand it's a very tough job, and I don't want to talk too badly. Usually, they do a great job.
Of course.
But these times, how can you get yourself in that position? I think there definitely should be an investigation in that.
Big time, man, because I think a few boxers have had some L's that they shouldn't be holding, you know? And I think, you know, someone puts in their blood, sweat and tears, hours, weeks, days, months, and it's just like, to have that taken away like that, and a lot of people don't understand that feeling, and you've got to sympathise with the guys that are putting in the work, you know? It's all well and good, everyone taking up arms on social media and saying, oh, it wasn't a fair, blah, 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 blah. But if nothing actually comes from it, great, we'll all forget about it in a month's time.
Well, a bit like Catterall and Josh Taylor, right?
Boom,
in 10 years' time, boxing fans, real boxing fans will be like, oh, yeah, Catterall won that. But anyone else will be like, oh, Catterall, yeah, he's got a loss on his record. And you're like, no one will look into it. And yeah, it's a big shame. And like, there should be some, I don't know, this is just me speculating, there could be some kind of VAR type system. Like, they actually do it sometimes in Vegas, for example. There was a stoppage and they didn't know if it was due to a headbutt or a punch, and they replayed it on the side. It was in Las Vegas. They replayed it so many times to see whether or not the fight should be disqualified or whatever. They had this VAR system in place and they still made the wrong decision. This guy's eye closed early. I think it might have been Maloney or someone, Australian guy. He closed the eye with a lovely shot, nice little straight down a pipe. The guy's eyes closed instantly, and they're like, clash of heads. And at no point was there a clash of heads. And they replayed the whole entire round where it could have happened. There was nothing there, and they called it a clash of heads and no contest, even though he should have won by stoppage.
What?
So I think there should be some kind of VAR to be able to see that.
100%.
But because there's money involved, it's always going to be a little bit corrupt. But they should have it with a third party that has nothing to do with it. No financial gain. You are there, black and white. This is the rules. This is why. They could even say on like a microphone, like in rugby, you know, so-and-so did this. This is why. Show the clip. Done. There is no argument. There is no hearsay. You've explained the rules of the book, and you've shown why.
I think you said it best yourself. There's too much money involved. So even if you get the third party in, they listen. It doesn't stop anything, you know what I mean? Cash rule everything these days. So it'd be great. I think it'd be wonderful. But boxing's been around for so long. Why hasn't it happened?
Yeah. What's your view on bare knuckle boxing?
To be honest with you, I think the guys don't get paid enough because, the brain cells are dropping in that.
Did you see the video I posted, that bloke?
No, I haven't seen the video.
Russian
Do you know,
guy.
I was scoping through. I didn't get a chance. I was rushing around this morning, so I was trying to I was looking at your stuff. I was like, But anyway, I didn't get a chance to see it properly. But people are getting messed up.
Yeah.
And I just don't think what's the pay like?
It's not bad. It's not bad. A lot of people that have left, like the MMA scene.
Yeah.
Like a lot of veterans go there.
I see like Mendes was doing some stuff on it. Yeah, Chad Mendes and stuff. Yeah.
They get paid more, I believe, for the bare knuckle.
Okay.
Which is good. But that's only the big organisations. There's a lot of smaller organisations which I can't talk for. But I think anyone that gets punched in the face should be paid correctly. Really.
100%, man, because it's not a game of football. And again, no disrespect to anyone who does any kind of sport, but I think any kind of combat sport, you do see it obviously, but you know that when they get older, you're going to see the effects of what they were doing at that particular window. And, some people lose their lives. It's such a risky thing. And I think you should be paid accordingly.
And boxing fans should remember that. There's so many boxing fans out there that have never put gloves on, never taken a punch, and nothing against them. Everyone has a right, everyone has an opinion, but have some respect for these fighters. When someone loses, like when Ryan Garcia lost to Tank Davis, right, and he got stopped, blah blah blah, and got dropped. He took a risk. He fought the best in the division. I think Tank's probably the best in that division.
Yep.
He took a risk, all of that, and there I am posting whatever, and there's hundreds of people saying, he got dropped, like, give it a rest. Like, it's humility. It's part of the sport. You win or lose, or you draw once every 100 fight.
100%.
But it's people need to respect these fighters more and what they go through. Ryan Garcia had a great amateur background. He's got incredible speed. He's got a great future ahead of him still. And just because he lost a Tank, there's going to be certain people out there that don't like their own lives, that have got big mouths, that are just going to badmouth him for the rest of his time
behind their computer screen.
Behind their computer screen, I'd like to see you go and fight Ryan Garcia.
100%.
It's a big shame, but
You
again,
see that a lot. Everyone's got that opinion. Then it's like, okay, cool, jump. If they're that bad, as bad as you're saying, jump in the ring of them.
Journeyman, mate. I think again, big part of the sport. I would love to see a journeyman just have a move around with some of these people. These people are like, he's had 250 losses. He's a nobody.
Jump in with him.
That guy could easily beat a lot of the guys as well that he lost to because of you're paid to move around. People don't understand in the sport, it's a dead fight. You're asked for a move around. You go in there for 4 rounds, you tuck up, you make sure you don't put it on them too much, you test them every now and then to see if they're moving, and that's it. And that's their life, and fair play to them. But yeah, people, the respect in the sport isn't there. People watch football, right? And the respect is more than ever now. Back in the day, it was your club and everyone else is shit. Nowadays, everyone's like, Man City are great. United have got this. Everyone's got this profound respect for all of the teams. And like, even the bottom of the Premier League, people are like, wow, that was a really good game. It was close. But in boxing, you lose in a split decision close fight. For example, Lomachenko losing to Haney. He's washed. It's over. He lost convincing. Like, you've got so... Where's the respect?
And they also forget the accolade of the athlete. It's crazy. Like you said, Lomachenko. I'd even say like Joshua, for example. A lot of people did not know what boxing was until this guy came in and did what he did and drew all that attention, publicity, focus to the sport. Now everyone just goes on about, you lost to Ruiz, you lost this person, he's a bit of a robot, he's a bit of this.
He's a bodybuilder.
He's a bodybuilder, he's a this. And it's like, listen, end of the day, don't forget what he's done. A lot of young fighters now are jumping into the game. Boxing's exciting to watch again because of what he done, you know? And there's a lot of eyes on British boxers now because he got the attention for us. And I think people just forget all of that. There was a time when it was like Joshua's fighting tonight and it was like, whatever you're doing, you make sure you are glued to that screen and you are watching this guy take these people out. And for people to be like, oh, his career's over and this, that, and that, it's like, well, listen, you don't know that. And most importantly, don't forget what he's done as well. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. I actually watched after his Usyk loss, and Eddie Hearn had a really, really good, and Eddie gets a lot of bad press, but in that moment, man, that guy had some really, really good words to say to remind everyone that if it weren't for Joshua, most of us wouldn't even know about it. Tyson Fury won the title against Klitschko, and a lot of people didn't even know that was happening, you know? That was a massive thing in boxing. He took out the biggest guy who's been reigning for over a decade, and he came in, took his straps in his backyard. No one really knew. Joshua does it, the whole world was glued, and it just builds from there. But that's what I'm saying, man. Just don't forget what these people have done, what they've given up, and how much they've put into the sport. And yeah, man, people are people, man, and words hurt. Do you know what I mean? These people want to come back out and do their thing again, but you've got all these people just criticising and saying what they're saying behind their screen, and they're just not happy with their lives, and they just got something negative to put out.
I couldn't have put it any better.
Yeah, man.
And the Joshua cards, going through the ranks, right? He had on his undercards people like Joe Cordina and all the guys that are world champions now. He paved the way and gave that platform to all the people that are now main events.
100%.
You know, and they built him up to let him fall. The media really loved that. And the only thing I've found frustrating with Joshua is he's not left it in the ring the last few times. So like against Franklin, I felt like he was cagey. He could have gone through the gears a bit more. He was saying before he was going to knock him out, it's the old AJ. He didn't show that. And as a boxing fan that fully understands he's a top 5 heavyweight, 2-time world champion, lots of respect. But as a fan of Joshua, it was heartbreaking to see that it's not the Joshua that we saw with the fight against Klitschko is one of the best fights I've ever seen live.
100%.
Every single person that watched that around the world was on the edge of their seats. You saw everything. And that goes down in history.
What a knockout as well, man. Remember that uppercut? I thought his head was coming off.
It did. It was like, in Toy Story. Right? I don't want no disrespect to Klitschko, so he'll jab my head off.
Man, that uppercut was lethal, boy.
Yeah, and to come back off the canvas and do that.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to see in any other sport someone injured, shots to the head, tired, come back and have that grit and determination and get the win. Like it's like no other sport. That's why I love it so much. It's you see someone put their life on the line, their heart on it. It's incredible. And then the people are, he's a bodybuilder, he's washed up, he's done. He's out in Texas living his best life right now. No one in America will really know who he is. He can go, like Eddie Hearn saying, he can go to the shopping mall, no one know who he is. Good. He's
Needs
actually,
that, man.
He's having a good time, and I think Derek hopefully brings the best out in him, and hopefully we'll see like a 3.0.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. If he has the right game plan, there's no reason why he couldn't in some way beat any of the top heavyweights with the right game.
Really good place right now. I think he's in a really good place right now where there's no title pressure. Because, since, who's the American brother who got the IBF title off? Charles Martin?
Charles Martin,
yes. Yeah. And since then, he's just constantly been, was he a perfect fighter then? No, but he had some stuff to work on.
He started at 18 years old.
There you go. And a lot of people forget that. And, since that Charles Martin fight, it's been constantly like top level fighting, this, that, and the other. So I think we didn't see the old Joshua in his most recent fight, but I also think he's just going through the bearings again. He hasn't got the pressure. He hasn't got Usyk in front of him where he has to try and be this tag and go boxer. He hasn't got this pressure where he has to come in and steamroll someone. He can just come out and just do some boxing. And yes, everyone was like, I miss your Joshua, this. And personally, I feel like whatever he was going to do in that fight, everyone was going to have something to say. I think the guy showed up, had a good fight, got the win. Perfect. Go back to the drawing board. What worked, what didn't work, this, that, and other, and build. I think there's a lot of mental stuff that he took from the knockout of Ruiz. Because I didn't even watch the fight, man.
You didn't?
No. Like when it actually happened,
Yeah.
like I saw he was fighting, I was like, nah, man, Josh is gonna win that fight, man. Crazy. And I woke up, I was like, bruh, like, do you know what I mean?
Mate.
And like, you know, like the rest of the world, we were all just like, oh my god. And I think
Everyone's jaws had just dropped.
100%. Can you imagine that
Speechless.
pressure? Can you imagine that happened to you, and then for the next like X amount of years, no matter what you do, everyone's like, yeah, nah, but you lost the thing, yeah, nah, oh, you know, and everyone just loses hope
and
in
look
you.
at him, you know, he's short and fat. Like,
There you go.
Mate, the amount of excuses that you could make for Joshua. He was training for Big Baby Miller, the steroid guy, for 300. He was like 350 pounds. So Joshua put on loads of weight. He was training for a massive guy. I think he got hurt in sparring the week of, which happens. You're heavyweights, it's going to happen. And he had all of these things against him. And then he dropped Ruiz. He was doing brilliantly. And then Ruiz caught him in the equilibrium. If anyone gets hit with that punch,
That throws you off.
anyone,
Bambi legs.
it's over. It's over. And for that reason, of course he lost. And Ruiz is very clever. You see in most of his fights, he's got fast hands, but he hits you. He knows where to hit you.
And silly with the hand.
Yeah.
Very smart boxer,
very
which
smart.
surprised me in the second.
Very smart.
In the second fight, I was a bit like, what's going on, bro?
World title got to him. Imagine,
Yeah.
right? You've got all these millions. He's got his Rolls Royce. He's not turning up to training. And this is what the coach was saying as well. Because he split with thingy. I can't remember his name. But yeah, he had all these things. You know, he's on top of the world. And unfortunately, he didn't train like a champion, and he lost it straight away. But that's what makes champions like Klitschko so amazing. To reign and to perform against mandatory after mandatory. And Anthony Joshua currently has the best resume in the whole heavyweight division.
And people forget that.
And people forget. Tyson
forget
Fury,
that.
of course, he unlocked the matrix of Wilder. He smothered his right hand and he outboxed him and he managed to put it on him and stop him. Brilliant. But besides that and Klitschko, everyone else, who can you really name? Whereas
you.
Joshua has beaten mandatory after mandatory, like we're saying. You know, he's had Povetkin, who's tough as nails. He's had Dillian White. Let's face it, Dillian White's left hook. If he lands that on anyone, it's probably going to go to sleep. He's had tough after tough. Oh, to be fair, Fury's had Dillian White as well. That was a lovely finish.
Interesting fight.
It was boring.
Interesting fight. I didn't expect
Boring.
that from. I didn't expect that from Dills, but you know, he
didn't have his range the whole fight.
Do you know what, man? I just think it's crazy because Dylan White, he's one of my. I really like Dylan. I really like Dylan White as a boxer and just how he carries himself. And I think everyone now just remembers that. Everyone forgets the dude was waiting for 1,000 days plus to fight Wilder. And in that window, what would we have seen? Now it's just a whole host of what ifs.
But also, he had the false positive of a drug test, which was proven that he didn't take PEDs. So he was proven clear, which is like on paper. And he had to go through the press, all of those bad type mental health. He ballooned up in weight. Can you imagine experiencing all that hate and having everyone think you're a steroid cheat when you didn't? So he went through all of that before. He ballooned up. He come back down. Like, he's had it so tough. And the media, because he lost to Joshua and he's always been in his shadow,
Chewed him up.
like it's been difficult, and he's had the tough ride. But he looks happy in Portugal.
Yeah.
And he deserves all the millions that he earns in the rest of his fights. For sure.
Yeah, man, 100%. And again, like I said, in and out, man, he's a really good guy to just watch. I follow him on Thingy. I just watch how he talks and just how he carries himself, and it's entertaining. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I'd love to be able to do a impersonation of him. He talks out the side of his mouth all the time. But he comes up with some funny stuff. I like his interviews with Coogan.
Oh, man, big time.
So good.
100%, man.
So
It's
good.
funny to watch.
So, what other fights we got coming up? Smith, Beterbiev. Huge, massive.
Woo, hey, when I saw that we were talking about that, man, I'm so interested to see what Smith's going to pull out the bag, because I mean he's got all the makings to make this a really good contest and put Beterbiev on the back foot. But Beterbiev, man, he's always got another gear. He's always got something up his sleeve. There's always just a few moves ahead. It's real chess boxing with that guy, and I love that. I mean, when I watched the yard fight the first time round, I was all caught up, and like every time the yard landed, everyone would be screaming in the crowd. So I was all getting caught up in it. I watched it the second time, and I'm like, okay. And then when I watched it the third time, man, I'm like, Beterbiev knew exactly what he's doing at every single point in that fight, and I was just like, that's that IQ stuff that you just really get drummed in those amateur days. I mean, look at his amateur resume; it's crazy. And he jumps in, and in 15 fights, he's unified his division.
And he looks like he's not slowing down.
And
I think
yeah.
is he 37 or 38?
I think he's turning 38. I want to say he's turning
yeah.
38 or turned.
So, like, you know, and he's not even looking like he's slowing down, which is insane.
And he doesn't look powerful, like as powerful as he is.
So heavy-handed.
Woo!
Have you seen him do that exercise where he flips the 20-kilo barbell?
And it's like it's
his wrist?
nothing.
Like, yeah.
And it's just like, what, man? That punch will send you to next week, bro.
Yeah.
That punch will send you to next week.
I would not want to take one of them. It's
No,
bad
man.
enough fighting a 69-kilo amateur, let alone, like, again, people don't realise, like, when Yard has lost to him, and was it Kovalev as well?
It was Kovalev, yeah.
You know, he's had those losses, but for him to be at the world stage and to even fight them guys, Yard didn't have an amateur background.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so impressive.
Very impressive.
So impressive.
Very good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And again, do you know what? Like, again, it's not over for him. He's handled a couple of L's, but I think what we saw in that fight, there was real glimpses of, okay, there's some real good glimpses of some good stuff. And if he takes it, because I think he's like 30-something now? Late 20s, early 30s?
I couldn't.
Oh no, I'm gonna place a bet somewhere
He's
around in that
definitely
little
his
bracket.
30s.
Yeah, I want to
Definitely
say maybe like 31, 32, maybe. But like watching what he's done and how he's progressed going into that fight, man. I was like, okay, cool. I personally didn't think he was gonna win the fight. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna win the fight. But I left the fight absolutely impressed with his work ethic, his skill set, his ring IQ, everything that he's absolutely switched up from what he's done in previous fights. So fair play to the champ.
Yard's lost to Lyndon Arthur. All he didn't do is cut off the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndon jabbed his head off. And it was frustrating as a boxing fan, knowing how good Yard can be, for him to not even be able to cut the ring off.
Mm-hmm.
And that, for me, was like, that was a tough pill to swallow. Because I thought it was going to be an easy fight. And obviously, Lyndon's a great fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and obviously in the rematch, you saw the new improved Yard. And for that, again, Yard Buatsi, I don't care if they've both had 3 losses by the time they do it. That is going to be a massive British fight.
Now that is something we're going to be excited about.
I just hope it don't happen too late, like Brooke Khan.
Have they even talked about making it
Can't
happen?
They've spoken to each other a few times. They've got a bit of respect, but to be honest, Buatsi's on that level. He's like pretty much mandatory now to fight either Beterbiev or
Not Bivol.
Bivol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, I think Buatsi's got to test himself on the world stage soon, see how he does, and then rethink. It would make sense to probably have that further down the line. I'd rather see it be unified with Beterbiev and Bivol.
Oh man, I think we need that.
Yeah.
That fight there.
Can you imagine that for
there's
Christmas?
going to be correct. If that happens, oh my god,
Mate,
that's going to go off.
Well, Bivol got fighter of the year, but then I think for him to be, I know Canelo pound for pound, going into that fight, I fancied Bivol anyway.
Yeah, I did, and a lot of. Do you know what? And I didn't know too much about Bivol, and I literally just done a quick bit of research, sat there, watched a few of his fights, and I was like, I was watching some of the fights with my boy, and I was like, hey, listen, I'm gonna just throw this out there. I think this guy's gonna give Canelo a real hard time, and lo and behold, he gave the guy a hard time, and it was amazing to see.
That Soviet style, straight shots, light on his feet. He doesn't have to load up. He's never reaching. It was perfect against Canelo.
And it's never. Do you know what I love it just about the Eastern European style of boxing? It's not. I was saying this to one of the guys I was training. I was like, it's not anything crazy. You won't see anything too flashy, but you'll see those basics heavily drummed in, working the ring, moving, hit, don't be hit, working behind that jab, and just level changing. And then it's just multiplied, double down, multiplied, double down, multiply. You look at Lomachenko, you look at Usyk, you look at Bivol, you look at Beterbiev, and you just look, when you watch them box, it's like, you're not actually doing anything crazy, but my God, that work rate's intense. Do you know what I mean? And they're just constantly three, 4, 5 moves ahead. And I love that. I really love watching them box. Like when I watch some of the amateur stuff, and I was watching, it was actually you that set me off. You showed me something in the, Kazakhstan, with the Kazakhstan boxers. You posted it on your page. And I just went on my YouTube and I just started watching a few things in some of their championships and their competitions.
Mate, Kazakhstan.
Their level of boxing's insane. Their level of boxing insane, but it is just the basics, doubled down on and really, really amplified.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of boxers will learn from that. Watch, drum down the basics.
Inoue. Inoue. Mate, pound for pound best, I think.
Mate, that guy's knockout, like, it's crazy for his weight as well, man.
And it's all basics. It's all basic. You don't see him doing anything crazy. He's just, again, double down on the basics, and he's just, I guess he's a freak of nature,
When
to be
he
honest.
hits, man.
Yeah.
When he hits, it's just like, ooh.
I think he's going to be one of those talents that are going to be like an 8-weight division world champion. He's going to be like another Manny Pacquiao.
Very easily done.
Yeah, I think he's going to just go through the weights comfortably. And I could see even at some point, Lomachenko, he's not even a lightweight. Can you imagine if Loma in 2-3 years' time was to go back down to a weight, and they could even meet at some point? Because Inoue, I know obviously there's like a lot between them now, but I could see easily 15 pounds. Inoue could fly up 8 weight divisions.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And
Oh,
Loma
yeah.
could easily go down a weight division and rule that. Now Shakur
100%.
Stevenson's gone up to lightweight. Lomachenko could easily go back down.
Shakur,
You know what I mean?
Shakur. Wee, Shakur. A lot of people don't even know about Shakur, you know.
Really?
I reckon, in the boxing world, man, I reckon he's known, but I reckon externally, man, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I like that. It was after there was something he'd done with the Haney win, and there's a picture here, and Haney's got like a big smile on his face, and you just see Shakur in the distance just looking at him, and I was like, that boy hungry, and he about to get him.
Sorry, hour mark. He's doing
Cool.
anything. Yeah, go Karen.
But yeah. I just think, man. Shakur he's got some real. And who's the other one? Boots.
Yeah, Ennis.
There's some really good the skill set there, man. I was watching him watching him box, and he's just like, there's some real talent coming up now.
I
man.
love the American style. I love the flashy style. It
But
works
that's
so
what I
well
mean.
in the pros.
It's very flashy, but like you can watch 4 or 5 different American. You watch Charlo, you watch Shakur, you watch this, and they all have a different. You watch Tank. They all have different styles, different angles. Really cool. I mean, I love how Tank could just disappear and come up with that left uppercut, bro. That's wicked. And you see all of that, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But it's be very hard to replicate. You know what I mean? You're gonna get one Tank Davis, you can't replicate that. But you watch these Eastern Europeans, and you're like, oh, okay, you can see the pattern, you can see the rhythm, you see how they do it. It's
Same
just,
with the Mexicans.
Same with the Mexicans, Cubans. Let's talk about the Cubans now. Listen, we're all on notice. Now
Making
that they're
his
at to turn
debut.
pro, we're all on notice.
Well, you've got Andy Cruz Gomez making his debut for
Yes.
Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn's already saying he could fight for a world title in his debut.
It's just insane.
Do it then. Do it. Why not? Why not? Let's see where he's at.
Let's see where he's at. And see what we do.
Lomachenko fought for a world title in his second fight. You know.
Lomachenko, he made some big claims. Remember when Lomachenko, I mean, what were we calling him back then? We were calling him high tech. Remember, they were calling him high tech.
And the Matrix.
And the Matrix. Because when that guy came in, man, he had fighters just in the middle of the room. How are you going to have an elite fighter, a world champion in the ring like that? While you're just dancing around him? Come on, man.
Mate, I heard a good story the other day. Dave from Hop, at the end of the coaching course, he was saying how Sam Maxwell filled in last minute on the World Boxing Super Series. He didn't know who it was against or whatever. And they were like, oh, yeah, you're fighting in a week. And he was like, oh, okay, who against? And they're like, oh, don't worry about that. And I literally only told this the other day. And anyway, they're like, he gets there, back to weigh in, he turns around, they're like, right, face off. Pull the curtains down or whatever. He flexes and there he is, Lomachenko, right in front of him. He's like, oh, okay. Like, don't worry about it. Like, can you imagine that? And even Peter McGrail, he fought Shakur Stevenson in the amateurs. Great fight. And they call him the Scouse Lomachenko. But if you get to see that fight, unreal.
Yeah.
Really good.
I'll check that out, bro.
So finishing up.
Yeah, man.
You got an online app for your PTing.
Yeah, man. So we're doing online coaching at the moment. Apps on the Instagram. The links on the Instagram. And man, at the moment I'm working with 4 clients I've got at the moment, and we're just building steady. I've got something that's worked for me, and I'm just trying to apply the same principle to my clients. And it's just drilling in the basics. We want to drill in the basics, so if you were to go on holiday, you're not coming back and think, I've got to jump on a fad diet, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. No, you're going to do exactly what you've done to get you to this point, and we're just going to repeat. And what that does is it lets you really see what works for you, and most importantly, you're going to have something that's going to really allow you to build and maintain consistency. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people lack. The amount of times I see people come in trying this, trying that, trying this, trying that. Oh, I saw that on Instagram. Nope, just stick with this. It's worked. We're building lean muscle, we're losing body fat. That's for me, that's the biggest thing. Most people I work with, unless it's like very athlete specific, it's normally, I want to lose body fat. Normally they come and say, I want to see the number on the scales go down. And it's like, yeah, but how do you want to see that? People think it's just cardio. Well, you don't want to lose the body fat and then just be like saggy skin and everything else. You want to make sure that you're building lean muscle. And most importantly, you want to drop that body fat. So we focus on the nutrition side of things, focus on some strength training, throw some other stuff in between, but most importantly, we spend time working what works for you. So that's what I've done for myself. And now I'm just applying that with the people I'm working with, and I'm trying to build and just really try and help as many people as I can. And that's what the online platforms allowed me to do, you know. I'm working with people from all different places. Only 4 at the moment, but it's going to build, man. It's going to build. It's exciting times.
Brilliant. I'll put the links in the bio as well, in all the bits for you. And it's good that you said about the basics, because when I asked Jordan, the S&C coach, he said, honestly, there's nothing special. We just do the basics. And again, we said it's the same with boxing. Just drill the basics. That's what people need to realise.
Over everything, man.
You know, you don't have to market yourself and do anything too silly. Be consistent. Get on this programme. And, achieve the goals that you want to achieve. But, mate, absolute pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for today.
The first of many.
That's it, man. We're only getting warmed up, man. Thank you so much.
We're having an analysis as well. We can do some, like, boxing breakdowns and stuff. I'd love that.
You name your time, you name your place, and I'm there, brother.
Nice one.
100%.